that time again. Familiar music means we are back again. Chad, Eric, Tim, and Lauren.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on News 2. We're also on Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about how to have conversations with others during holiday parties. So maybe people that you don't talk to often, maybe people that you share differences.
Bridge the gap.
Yeah, we're going to have Blanca here to
Etiquette.
navigate us through those conversations.
Yes.
You know, a good way to always break the ice.
How's that?
Talk about the weather.
Talk about the weather. Hey, it's been real lousy outside, hasn't it?
Right.
Well, let's all go ahead. I'm sure you have an opinion on this. Everybody seems to, that's for sure. If you were lucky and pretty observant earlier today, you might have noticed we had a couple of breaks of sunshine. Didn't last all that long. Now the cloud cover is back in full force. No matter where you are in the Triad, it is pretty warm though. Temperatures are in the upper 50s to right around 60 degrees. And while we are dry for now, that's also not going to last all that much longer. On this wide view here, the Triad's still in the clear, but we look back toward Tennessee. There's a pretty good amount of rain trying to move closer into our Piedmont area. So you take a look, there are a few scattered showers locally at the moment. And if we take that live view on our live radar, you know, there's a couple sprinkles moving into Forsyth County. We have the same idea right now for Surrey, Yadkin, and parts of Davidson. So don't be shocked if you see a couple of mostly light rain showers at the moment. Mount Airy is reporting a little bit of rain at last check. Otherwise, we're pretty dry in the low 60s in Asheboro, mid 50s farther to the north. Futurecast does have this rain pretty much nailed down. It's going to move through this evening. Overnight looks pretty wet as well, but a little bit of a good news here. Heading into Friday, it actually doesn't look terribly wet. It will be cloudy, cool, and damp, maybe some drizzle or fog or mist, but it doesn't look to be like monsoon rain, not anything like what we've seen at times so far this week. So relatively good news if you're having to go out to anything for your Friday. This is how we see it. Mostly cloudy, low chances for any big time showers, but we do see drizzle, we do see mist, those kind of annoyances that you expect with a gloomy pattern that we're in. The good news is that for the weekend, well, we have a chance to see some sunshine. Not all the time, but some peaks of sun are likely for Saturday, more on the way for Sunday, and actually Monday and Tuesday both look really great. Bright and blue sky there.
Tim, thanks. The easiest way to know whether there's rain in the forecast is by using the News 2 app. You can customize alerts for your part of town so you aren't caught without an umbrella.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. The Greensboro Police Department is upgrading its city surveillance cameras.
We're sharing an exciting expansion on our license plate readers. Currently, we have 25 stationary flock license plate readers throughout the city, and we're excited that we now have the capability to have license plate readers in all the patrol vehicles. So it's adding roughly 200 license plate readers throughout the city that are mobile.
The upgrades also include a portal in which the community can see which plates were captured and if they're associated with stolen vehicles. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office wants you to watch out for scam distress posts floating around online. Here's how it all works. The post usually involves some sort of distress call or urgent matter, like a child found hurt with no parents around, or an elderly person lost and in need of a way back home. Officials say the posts are often shared in community groups on Facebook. If you come across one of these posts, here are some ways to know they're fake. Look and see if the comment section is turned off. If you see hashtags with your town or city name in the post. And lastly, check the account of the person who made the post. If they don't have a lot of followers or if their page is super private, it's probably not legit.
The state's latest COVID update is showing another rise in hospitalizations. The latest patient count is 677. It's the highest number the state has reported in a month. Now, it's easy to see numbers over the past couple of weeks have not been going in the right direction. Overall, the numbers are still fairly low. Check out the entire past year. Our recent numbers look really good compared to the early days of 2022, when hospitals were treating upwards of 5,000 patients at a time. We should expect our numbers to go up again as we get deeper into winter. It's just not clear how high they will go.
Well, right now, the colder months, of course, settling in, and community leaders want you to think about your elderly neighbors. We often see toy drives and ways to support kids in need, but two Triad organizations, they are determined to make the season a special one for senior adults. The Senior Resources of Guilford is preparing for Santa for Seniors. This is an initiative where they collect basic items such as toothbrushes, toothpaste, and blankets. With help from the community, we're told 900 bags get collected each year. The Senior Resources of Forsyth is also busy this holiday season. They've launched their Remember December campaign, where they also collect basic need items for those who need the support.
When the rubber meets the road, we want to make sure that seniors know they're supported, that they have what they need, and they can always count on us as an organization and as a community to show up for them.
Now, if you can't donate, the senior resource groups, they say they're always looking for volunteers. Easy as that. You know, it's so simple. It's the small things that you don't think about, but toothbrush, toothpaste, blankets, easy stuff. You can donate that quickly and help somebody out.
And the seniors love the visits from these organizations. You know, a lot of them, they live alone and they might not have close contact to their other family members. So those visits where they get these supplies or even meals, because I know they offer meals throughout the year too, it means so much to them.
And so this is a year-round thing, and every time of year requires different donations, right? So they do fans for the elderly in Rockingham County every year, for people who don't have air conditioning, you know? And so, I mean, it's great to see that throughout the year there are different, I guess, drives to help people.
I would say too, you kind of touched on this, seniors just want to be heard sometimes. Let them tell their stories. Go sit down with someone you know that's a senior and just let them kind of reminisce and bring things about, because that's the connection they really miss.
Yeah, the best way you can do that is volunteer for one of these organizations. Well, speaking of thinking of others, one Greensboro artist is dedicated to warming the hearts of his community. If you grew up in the area, then you've probably seen one of the many thousand works of art by painter William Mangum. There's one project that he started 35 years ago that means more to him than most. And this year is even more special. I spoke with him about his honor card program.
But acrylics is this fantastic medium that allows you to have lots of texture and great edges to it.
A love for North Carolina and its beautiful sceneries can be seen in William Mangum's work.
Well, for me, art is a language in itself. It's a bridge. It's a conduit where you can verbally use the strength of that imagery and tell that story.
To date, Mangum has created more than 4,000 paintings sold all around the world. One of his most cherished projects is the Honor Card, an annual painting that raises awareness and funds for the needy and homelessness across North Carolina. An unexpected friendship helped spark the idea.
And in 1987, I had the good fortune of befriending a fellow by the name of Mike Saavedra. He was a homeless individual that I met at a local Hardee's restaurant, and that wound up turning into a 3-year friendship where ultimately I became Mike Saavedra's caretaker, because not only was he homeless, he was mentally ill.
For 35 years, Mangum's annual Honor Card program has generated more than $10 million to support local agencies across North Carolina. Nearly $6 million has benefited the Greensboro Urban Ministry.
Obviously, rents have gone up with the housing crisis here in Guilford County. A typical person who comes to us, they've seen their rent go up from about $750, $800 a month to about $1,200 a month in a short period of time. So the resources we get from the Honor Card allow us to help just as many people as possible.
So every Honor Card actually has to begin with an original painting.
This year's Honor Card is titled Making a Difference. It's a tribute to Mangum's 35th and final year participating in the program.
The painting is symbolic because in the painting is me and Mike. Mike would have been 67 this year if he still lived, but he really pricked a lot of people's heart, and his testimony continues to live on.
With a donation of just $5 or more, you can send an honor card to a friend or family member this holiday season. Remember, 100% of the gifts of your donation will support homeless shelters across the state. Though Mangum's last year participating in the Honor Card program will continue on, even though this is his last year. Yes, so this is his last year participating in the program. They will continue doing this. Greensboro Urban Ministry said they're going to find another artist that can help continue this program. But William gave me this book here. So this is basically a capstone
Here, we'll prop it
of
up.
his last 35 years doing this program. So there's pictures of his other cards in there. There's pictures of him and Mike and the story of how all of this got started.
I love this, and if you've ever met him, in fact, we were talking about He's got the most soothing demeanor, soothing voice. Chad said his voice matches his art. So
Yeah,
true.
and you know, every year he goes to the Feast of Caring that we are also very proud to be a member of when we help raise money for people in the community. And he is always so giving of his time and of his talent. I mean, he's been doing this for many years, as you know, you just talked about. And to have someone so talented play such a big role in some of these organizations, I mean, is crucial.
And it's grew to 15 cities in North Carolina. And he
I
said,
didn't know
though
that.
this program is ending as far as his participation goes, he says, as an artist, I always have goals that I'm trying to reach. So he said he's really trying to get this message about homelessness on a national stage.
One of my favorites that he did, I mean, this is decades ago, but I loved it. It was the depot downtown, and it's snowing, and he always put his friend, you know, somewhere in one of those pictures, and you can see him off to the side, but it's a beautiful snowy shot of the train depot downtown Greensboro. Very cool.
For information about this book or how to get an honor card, we'll have all those details up on our website.
All right, we'll be back in just a minute. Stay there.
All right, I am having, what am I talking about? Oh, healthy conversations. Don't shut people down.
By now, you might have received an invitation or two for some kind of holiday event, whether it's a work party or a gathering with friends and family.
Yeah, the theme of these parties, of course, usually holiday cheer, but sometimes that's a little easier said than done.
Yeah, psychology expert Blanca Cobb joins us now with ways to improve communication with those who don't necessarily bring about the most joy. Blanca, why are these types of conversations so hard?
What happens, you have to think of communication this way. It's more than just talking. It's not just hearing yourself talk. It's really listening and understanding what someone is conveying to you and watching their body language to look for hidden emotions. And sometimes people talk indirectly, so there's a message within a message, and in psychology, that's what we call a meta message. So it gets very convoluted in conversations.
And so how do you handle a situation when you feel like someone is kind of talking to you away, they're almost like shutting you down?
Well, when you feel like someone is shutting you down, you really need to speak up for yourself and say, hey, you know, I'm trying to explain something to you, but you said that what I did was stupid and it makes me feel bad. And so if you want to have this conversation, I'd appreciate if you listen, and this is what I need from you. I really just need to be able to talk without any judgment or criticism. because that makes me want to talk to you. And then here's the catch. After what you say, no matter how you word it, listen to their response, because if they really care, then they're going to change. They're going to adapt to what you're asking because it's reasonable what you're saying.
Is there ever a time when you just think, you know what, I'm just going to avoid a conversation altogether with this person?
Absolutely. If you feel like you're being judged or criticized, or you're talked over, or you don't even know why you're a participant in the conversation because what you say really doesn't matter to them, that's the time to step away and walk away and talk to somebody different.
Makes sense, because
It
I
does.
have definitely had those when I'm like, I'm just going to be over here.
Yeah, or
You know how
just you
you
could tell
kinda-
it just kind of dies down, and you're
Yes.
oh, there's my other friend, and you just kind of
So
mosey on over somewhere else.
Awkward when everybody stops talking. Like silence is the most awkward thing ever.
And then you always just gravitate toward the one person in the room where you're like, I know that we could have a good conversation.
Yeah.
I know this is going to go off well. All right, Blanca, thanks so much. You can continue the conversation with her on her Facebook page. All you have to do is search Blanca Cobb, body language expert. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The clouds are still with us, but if you'll remember, the last couple of days it was basically foggy all the time as well. We have a really good visual we can show you here at News 2 with all these different cameras across the Triad, and as we animate it, this is proof there actually was a little sunshine earlier in the day. Then the clouds thickened back up, but one thing we haven't seen has been that fog. That has left us alone now when that cool air finally, we got rid of it earlier today. So what's left over? Well, we have a new system kind of trying to push our way right along that same stationary front, a new batch of rain. It's still coming closer over in Tennessee at the moment. We have some stray light showers moving over the mountains at this time. We'll see some sprinkles and light rain as we go through this evening. Nothing terribly heavy. Overnight, could see a little bit more in the way of moderate rainfall, and it's still right along this border zone. We've been talking about it all week. 70s and 80s here, 30s and 40s there. We're right on this edge where weather systems like to travel. They like temperature differences, and that's why we're continuing to get these batches of rain. So we'll have another one overnight tonight. However, Friday, tomorrow, has trended to be a little bit drier. It'll still be cloudy. It'll be cooler than today, quite cold actually at times in the 40s. but a little drizzle is probably all that we see. It's just not a soaking rain, an occasional drizzle or mist. On Saturday, well, a couple peaks of sunshine are possible. We'll see another batch of rain Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then finally we're in the clear by Monday with some really nice blue sky. That's your patch of rain overnight. This is 2 a.m. Fast forward to about 9 a.m. and you'll notice really it's mostly just clouds. Maybe a little mist or drizzle. That'll be how we spend most of the day tomorrow. So spotty showers mostly before sunrise. Otherwise it's cloudy and cool. Highs will be stuck in the 40s. Same idea for Saturday, mostly cloudy, maybe a peak or two of sunshine, and some showers move in Saturday night into early Sunday morning. And then Sunday afternoon looks quite nice, low 50s with some sun. Monday and Tuesday looking great as well.
For most people, this time of year is full of joy and celebration, but it can be challenging for people dealing with grief or mental illness. Novant Health behavioral specialists have some advice. First, patience is key. There's no rule or timetable on grief. Everyone copes differently. Also, when in large gatherings, try to keep the mood and memories upbeat and positive. Finally, it's okay to dial back some of the holiday fun. For some, treating it as just another day can actually alleviate some of that pressure.
We know losing a loved one can be extremely difficult and sometimes traumatic. One Arizona professor is working to support those in need with the help of a large farm and a slew of compassion.
On this 10-acre farm, just outside of Sedona, Arizona, horses, goats, cows, and other animals are helping people heal.
I lost my newborn daughter in 1994, and there was no place for me to go.
Arizona State University professor Dr. Joanne Cacciatore opened the Sella Care Farm 5 years ago. It's a one-of-a-kind refuge for the traumatically bereaved, those who have lost a child, sibling, parent or partner to homicide, suicide, an accident, or unexpected death.
We teach people, how to build the emotional and psychological strength to endure this.
Memories of the lives lost are throughout the farm. Silver medallions etched with their names. And these plaques give the people who come here permission to grieve.
When you lose a child, people don't know what to say.
Jill LaFort Carroll's daughter Sierra died 7 years ago.
All of a sudden you're validated because these other people are having these same experiences.
Visitors participate in grief counseling, yoga, and meditation. But Cacciatore feels the most transformative experiences happen in the field.
All of our clients have a particular animal they bond with.
All of the animals have been rescued from neglect or abuse.
I think a lot of them can feel my trauma too.
A special connection.
They don't think we should move on. They just accept who we are right now.
Bringing hope and comfort to those who need it most.
The doctor says now she's teaching others how to replicate the Care Farm model so others can start around the country.
You know, I'll speak on this because I've lost both of my parents because I was a late child. And I remember as I got older and realizing that, oh, I'm probably going to lose my parents earlier than most of my friends would. I asked my dad, how did you deal with it when we lost my grandfather? And he said, you turn to your own family because that's what they would want you to do. And that's kind of the natural thing. And it does happen, but it was 3 years after my father's death that it took me to really get a hold of it. I think it's not easy and it's not a quick process.
Would you say you ever found anything to pour your emotions into, like the people on this farm are doing?
My kids. I mean, really, I poured everything into. I'll tell you this real quick. I don't want to dominate this conversation, but I am. I had a dream about a year after my father died. He was an educator, so we were in the high school that I went to that he was superintendent of, and we were in a teacher's lounge, and I looked at him, and in the dream I knew that he had already passed on. Why are you here? And he just motioned like this, and we walked down the hall, and at the end of the hall where it would go to the middle school, it was junior high back then, were the doors, and it was a typical white light and all that. And as he walked down that hall, he got more and more feeble, and then he went on into the thing, and he looked back at me like it's all right. And I felt
the release.
Yes, and I swear to you, I feel like he was telling me that it's okay, and that was. I mean, that's the real deal.
That's beautiful because not everybody gets some type of closure.
No.
And I think the camp, I mean, if you can duplicate it around the country like they want to do, I mean, that's incredible. And so, you know, think about what it's like for the people who go there, but think about for the staff members. I mean, think about the weight that you carry around, and you know, you've really got to compartmentalize because all you're doing is you're helping so many people who have gone through traumatic experiences.
And in that sense, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself if you are someone helping others. But I just think the power of connection with animals is so important. You know, people have pets and they provide emotional support. You know, when you come home from work, you can have a bad day. Your dog does not care, your cat does not care. They're just happy to see you. So that connection has proven to work.
Very good. We got deep on the 4 to 5. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Getting deep.
Whoa, that sounds so loud. Let me turn down my IFB. Will you try talking to me? I haven't heard you. Hey, there you are. I'm headed in right now.
Mic check. Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you.
You realize we have 30 more minutes. You can't
30
leave
whole
yet.
minutes?
I know. Stick
Well, it's a
around.
good thing we love it here.
Yeah, we love it here, and I know you love us too.
That's true. And one thing that you will love, well, I don't know if you'll love it or not, but I love it. It's the best story of the day. Do you know there's a way you can now give your Amazon delivery driver $5, but it's not actually your $5?
What?
How does that
I like
work?
that.
It's coming from the company, and you just give it as a token of appreciation.
Oh,
Sign me up.
very
Good.
interesting.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Bezos can pay them $5.
Exactly.
And I won't. I'll just sit there. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that later this half hour.
Look forward to that, but first, let's get to the top story of the hour, the release of WNBA star Brittany Griner.
I'm glad to be able to say that Brittany's in good spirits. She's relieved to finally be heading home.
And right now, Griner is on a plane heading back to the U.S. after spending 9 months in jail.
The Biden administration negotiated to swap her for a convicted Russian arms dealer being jailed in Illinois. Sherelle Griner stood by the president this morning, relieved to finally hear that her wife was coming home.
So over the last 9 months, you all have been so privy to one of the darkest moments of my life. And so today I'm just standing here overwhelmed with emotions, but the most important emotion that I have right now is just sincere gratitude for President Biden and his entire administration. He just mentioned this work is not easy, and it has not been. There's been so many hands involved.
Now, you'll remember Moscow airport police arrested Griner in February for having a small amount of cannabis oil. A court sentenced her to 9 years in prison.
Many people have spoken out about the conditions of her release, with some wanting more information about the prison exchange and the convict the U.S. gave up. Ben Briscoe is here to dig into it.
In order to get Griner home, President Biden authorized a prisoner swap for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. He was serving a 25-year sentence for conspiring to kill Americans by selling weapons over to terrorists. The man who arrested the arms dealer says this prisoner swap is a bad idea.
Mr. Bout was a major threat to our national security, and someone that we considered a grave enough threat that we poured a massive amount of resources into an investigation to apprehend him. I believe we're sending the message that it is good business to deal in the capturing, kidnapping, detaining of American citizens. Nothing but well wishes for the families. I hope we can get them home. I just don't think this is the right way to go about it.
When you hear about all the terrible things Bout has done, it makes you wonder, will he go back to a life of crime now that he's a free man? I called up a Russian history expert at North Carolina A&T to get his thoughts. Dr. Thomas Porter says the arms dealer is not a threat anymore.
I think so, because he could be arrested again. He certainly would not be extradited from Russia, but if he were to get back in the game, so to speak, he'd have to use surrogates and all these people have been murdered and put in prison. I think he's just going to retire.
There is another American still in prison in Russia. Coming up at 5:45, we're going to dig into why he was not part of this prisoner swap and what's being done to bring him home also.
Ben, thanks. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, there have been 2 Wells Fargo bank robberies in our area today. The first was this morning on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Winston-Salem. The second was a couple hours later at the location on Pisgah Church in Greensboro. Police say the suspect in both cases got away with cash, but no one was hurt. It's not clear whether they're related.
The Guilford County Schools Board voted against banning a book some believe is controversial. Leaders and parents discussed the book titled Life is Funny by E.R. Frank today. Critics say it is not appropriate for students under 18, while the district says it provides representation of all human life. The board will continue to monitor the book and may hold more meetings on it in the future.
Some good news in Forsyth County this afternoon. 73 dogs rescued recently from a home are no longer at the shelter. Many of the dogs were adopted. Others are in foster care. Since the shelter was so overcrowded, there was a concern about euthanizing them if they stayed much longer. The sheriff's office says it does not plan to file charges against the dog's previous owner.
Singer Celine Dion announced that she is rescheduling upcoming shows after being diagnosed with a very rare neurological disease.
I've been diagnosed with a very rare neurological disorder called stiff person syndrome, which affects something like 1 in a million people.
Dion says she's been having spasms affect her everyday life, including walking and using her vocal cords. However, she is working hard and with doctors to build back her strength and ability to perform. Her shows planned for next year are now set for 2024. Now, this is the first that I've ever heard of this disorder. I have scheduled an interview tomorrow to speak with a doctor to find out more about this disease.
I mean, she said, 1 in a million. I mean, that's a very rare disorder. I know for her, she's such a she's so dedicated to her performances. I'm sure there's a lot of work ahead, but she'll be back, I hope.
Absolutely. I hope that she's back on her feet pretty soon, because to hear you have such a rare disorder and wondering how much information is even out there on that, I can just imagine that it's traumatic.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to her on her road to recovery, we hope. All right, we'll talk about a forecast. We need some changes here and get the sun back out and get rid of some of this rain, Tim Buckley.
Yeah, I wish I could wave that magic wand and make it all happen. People are ready, that's for sure. We got a little tease earlier today with the fog lifting, the rain stopping, a little bit of sun even came out for a little while, but right now we are back to the gloom. The clouds are here. It's really pretty warm though. Temperature at 60 degrees, might not have you in that holiday spirit, so to speak, but it is what we have right now. Pretty comfortable outside, low 60s, even some mid 60s down in the south, mid 50s up near the Virginia border. Radar starting to fill back in, so we have another daily dose of rainfall for the night. This is coming up later on this evening. Maybe good weather to ride a dirt bike or something. Scattered showers will be with us. So these aren't that heavy, just some scattered showers moving our way right now. If there is a heavier batch of rain, that's going to be overnight while we're sleeping. We see this over on the other side in Tennessee right now. So bottom line, the threat for rain starts right about now through the evening into the overnight hours. This is around 2 a.m. Watch what happens though. We start to dry out rain-wise into tomorrow. So Friday does not look as wet as it did at one point. It still looks cloudy, gloomy, and damp. Could see some mist or drizzle really at any point throughout the day. But as far as heavier showers, I don't really think we see any of those throughout the day tomorrow, and that's a nice change. Mid-40s for much of the day. It will not be warm outside on Friday. Same could be said for Saturday. It too looks pretty cool. And in fact, we're not having much warm weather over the next couple of days at all.
The easiest way to know whether there's rain in the forecast is by using the News 2 app. You can customize alerts for your part of town so you aren't caught without an umbrella.
UNC Greensboro's fall graduation is tomorrow at the Greensboro Coliseum. One of the members of the graduating class is living out a lifelong dream, getting another diploma at 80 years old. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with Bonnie Miller about what led her back to the classroom.
Mrs. Bonnie Miller graduated from UNCG for the first time in 1982 with a degree in social work. From there, she went on to work here in Guilford County for 30 years. But before all of that, Miller spent 15 years in France when she was growing up, as her father was stationed there with the United States Army. Fast forward to 2018, Miller was trying to read one of her favorite French novels and realized most of her French had escaped her.
Then I decided, because I had, grown up in France, that maybe I'd like to do that, just to go back to school and see. And I had some books that I don't know if you had seen or read, that I was trying to read The Count of Monte Cristo in French. I tried it. I needed some help, so that's why I went back to school.
Miller had already had a bachelor's and a master's in social work, but her passion for the French language and literature, plus her desire to reconnect with a piece of her childhood, led her back to UNCG's campus.
It's a little odd when you know you're probably the oldest person walking around. When I went into a classroom, the students thought I was the teacher. But when the teacher came in, the teacher thought I was lost.
So after receiving her second undergraduate degree this week from UNCG, Mrs. Miller tells us she's thinking about re-enrolling in the spring to pursue her master's.
That's great. I love this story. And I mean, to be inspired to do this because she just kind of forgot how to read French.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that's the thing. I once was pretty good in Spanish, but then I've challenged myself the last couple years, and I'm like, wow, my Spanish is really falling off. So I can only imagine, how she felt at 80 as a person that was fluent in French and, you know, grew up with the culture, and just the disappointment she said she felt trying to read that. She said, I couldn't live with it, I gotta fix it.
Someone in the newsroom had asked whether she now plans to start or continue a career after this with her degree. Sounds like not.
No, she's just doing it for the love of it, just sharpen up her tools and just to kind of reconnect with her childhood.
What a cool story.
I know, right? Unbelievable. I love people that are self-starters, motivated like this, and just like, hey,
at any age.
This is something I've done and need to do again.
Right.
Let's get to it. Let's get to work.
Well, an early congratulations to her. Thanks, Jalen. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hey, do you want my mic check? Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Yeah, 5 years. It's crazy. Anyway.
Alexa, she's busy. She wakes up and she tells you the forecast. She can remind you about the plans that you have later that day. And Alexa can spoil Christmas? How, you ask? Your delivery of is estimated for 6 p.m. today. Yeah, that can happen if you have an Echo device. Let's not spoil the surprises, right? To stop this from happening, open the Alexa app on your phone. Tap More, then Settings. You're going to choose Notifications, then select Amazon Shopping. Look for that first section. Let Alexa say or show title for items you've ordered. You want to uncheck that box. Now, Alexa could get put on the naughty list if she gives away some presents.
Yeah, I didn't even know. See, I don't know anything about Alexa, but I know that I don't like that feature.
Yeah. My sister has an Alexa, and somehow my dad's account was connected to hers, so she could see whenever or hear whenever he was making some type of a purchase.
Oh, no.
I don't think it was any surprises or gifts getting away, but that could be possible.
Oh, sure. Absolutely, it can happen. I think that, you know, when you get something like an Echo device or whatever else, there's so many different things that it can do that you don't have any idea that you need to be like pushing off all of these things, right?
You can even use them as intercoms. We use them in our house. I can say, you know, drop in on Drew's Echo dot, and, and then it'll open up and you can talk back and forth.
Gotcha.
I'm wondering whether us saying Alexa right now is actually setting off the ones at home.
It actually will Because that's happened to me in another
Yes.
newscast before, and another coworker said, "You just made my Alexa go off." Because we were like, "Alexa, what's the weather?" To toss the weather.
So now everybody
It's happening right
everybody
now.
at home.
All right, so here's my question. How many of you send or get something from Amazon at least once a month?
Once a
Easy.
day?
Once a
Every
week?
other month.
Probably every other week, I would say.
You're just every other month.
Yeah, I'm not a huge online shopper, but I
Okay.
do have an Amazon account.
Okay, you're,
Every other week at least.
yeah.
4 times a week?
Yeah, I get it at least once a week. Anyway, chances are you don't see your delivery driver, but you get the emails that the item was delivered, right?
Yep.
And you're
Take
very
that
happy.
picture,
Yes,
picture,
and
yes.
you're like, yes, it went really well. Well, now you can say thank you to your delivery person and put $5 in their pocket, all without you spending a dime.
Alexa, thank my driver.
Glad you enjoyed your most recent delivery. Since you shared your appreciation, as a special thanks this holiday season, your driver will receive an extra $5 at no cost to you.
All right, so they're doing this for the first 1 million thank yous.
That's really cool. I love this.
I ran into a problem when I did mine last night.
Yes.
So my delivery was Amazon, but it was partnered with UPS. So it was
Correct.
a UPS driver. And so when I said that, she simply said, "We will send along our thanks."
Yes. So it
That
is
is funny.
only for the actual Amazon driver.
real
Okay.
That
yes.
is true. Now, here's the thing. What about if you don't have an Echo? Can you still thank your driver? The answer is yes. Let me show you how to do it right here. First, you're going to open up your Amazon app on your phone. And second, you're going to tap the Alexa icon that's on the bottom right of the screen. And then third, you just simply tap to enable your microphone and you say those words, "Alexa, thank my driver." And it does it.
I think you probably just thanked all of the drivers
Yeah.
in the Triads.
There goes the million.
We'll wrap.
Well, it's an above average day. It's warm in this month of December right now anyway, pretty close to 60 degrees in many parts of our Triad area. We are looking at the return of rain though, not a ton of it, but some scattered showers are already with us. You might be kind of seeing a sprinkle outside where you are. We're seeing this kind of just moving through randomly in different parts of our counties. Right now we have a little bit of this in Greensboro. You have more of it up closer to Mount Airy. The bigger batch of rainfall will happen later on this evening. It's in Tennessee right now, and we'll see that tracking our way well after darkness, so closer to 8 to 11 o'clock or so. And then going into tomorrow, what's going to mostly just be a cloudy, dreary, and chilly day of weather. We'll be in the 40s most of the day. I don't expect a ton of rain for Friday. It's mostly the drizzle variety, and we'll see a better chance of dry weather during the days on the weekend.
The latest rendition of Pinocchio has our movie critic Manning Frank singing a new tune. Oscar-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro took a stab at the classic tale in his new stop-motion musical.
Now, you may remember the recent Disney reboot didn't get news to approve, so let's see if this one will.
Pinocchio as a story has never really connected with me on a personal level, and all subsequent adaptations have been either meh in my view or just plain horrendous. See my recent review for Disney's live-action adaptation of Pinocchio. However, leave it to the visionary mind of Guillermo del Toro to inject new life into the wooden boy's frame. In one fell swoop, the story of Pinocchio has had new layers injected into it that makes this tired tale worth watching.
Hello? The wooden boy with the borrowed soul. While you may have eternal life, your loved ones, they do not. You never know how long you have with someone until they're gone.
Set against the backdrop of pre-World War II and fascist Italy, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is adapted directly from the 1883 Italian novel The Adventures of Pinocchio. Following the tragic death of Geppetto's young son Carlo, the young puppet named Pinocchio is given life to fill the hole in the woodworker's heart. However, before the hole can be filled, Pinocchio must struggle to live up to his father's expectations and become a real boy. In a beautiful turn of this classic, Del Toro examines the fairy tale through the eyes of adoption and the search for family. It's always been there under the surface, and writers Del Toro and Patrick Mahale bring the theme to the forefront in a powerful way. This interpretation of Pinocchio is not afraid to delve into the darker elements of the original, yet despite the undertones of the macabre, this is a film fit with the entire family in mind. Boasting a visual palette that complements its fairy tale roots, Del Toro's Pinocchio could be a painting in what is arguably the best stop-motion animation of all time. The creativity in the visuals is astounding, as it is mixed with a soul-affecting score that will pull upon your heartstrings akin to the puppet boy himself. Of course, some sequences are more entertaining than others, but overall, this version of Pinocchio has the power to inspire both young and old. By the time Alexandre Desplat's score hits the end credits, I was visibly weeping, and admittedly, that's something I never thought I would do with a Pinocchio film. Guillermo del Toro has done something I thought was impossible. He's made me care about a little wooden boy, just longing for a father. Because of that, his version of Pinocchio is too approved. You can stream it only on Netflix.
And you don't have to wait long. Pinocchio comes out tomorrow on Netflix. Boy, what a review.
I know. I was watching this and I said, this is something I would definitely want to see. I like how it kind of goes off the track of the original storyline of Pinocchio, and as he says, has some deeper elements to it.
And you remember at the beginning, Manning said that he's never felt a connection toward the Pinocchio story. So to have him talk about how he openly wept by the end of it, I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah, definitely is going to make all of us want to see this. And I like the animation as well. It kind of reminded me of James and the Giant Peach.
Right, yeah.
Just kind of like that animation, so I like it.
Tomorrow on Netflix.
Alrighty. We'll be right back. Stick with us. what the deal means for both countries involved. That will be coming up in an hour. Chip, chip, cheerio.
Hello, we're going to do a cold open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to rain again 1, 2, 3.
Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah.
Nine 987654321 109876. Okay, thank you. Mike.
There's something very interesting that happens this time of year, and it revolves around a popular phrase, Happy Holidays. For some reason, it's become rather controversial. For example, this past weekend was the Greensboro Holiday Parade. You should have seen the comments on the News 2 Facebook page as we were posting pictures and videos from the parade. Instead of everyone happy about spreading cheer during one of the most joyous times of the year, people online seemed to be outraged that we were using the name Holiday Parade instead of Christmas Parade. First of all, we weren't in charge of naming the parade. We were just saying what it's called. Second of all, why in the world do some people get so riled up for using a term meant to include all of the holidays this time of year? Obviously, Christmas is the main December holiday for lots of people. But did you know there are at least 14 religious-based holidays in the month of December? Besides Christmas, several of them are even part of the Catholic and Christian faith. Don't get me wrong, I grew up Catholic, and for me, this time of year revolves around celebrating Christmas. But I also understand there are other faiths that celebrate different holidays. It's disappointing that we've gotten to the point where we aren't allowed to recognize other holidays if they don't align with our own. I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. We all could use more grace these days. It certainly can't hurt. That's just my 2 cents. And you're 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Just when you thought it was gone, it's coming right back. Rain pushing into the Triad. I'll let you know when this latest batch starts, ends, and look ahead to the weekend.
And the lights are back on in Moore County. How you can support local businesses who lost out during a 4-day power outage. Plus,
when the rubber meets the road,